Hello, everyone, and welcome to our weekly 30-minute webinar. My name is Dre Devotz, a systems engineer here at Variphy, and I'll be your host for today's webinar. Today, we're going to be joined by my good friend, Jim Schultens, another systems engineer over here at Variphy. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing excellent. How are you, Dre?
Doing well.
Good.
For today's webinar, we're going to show you how to upgrade your Variphy servers on Windows or Linux. First off, we're going to start with a quick overview of our company and what we do. We'll jump to a live demo where Jim's going to guide us through upgrading Variphy. We'll pause for Q&A and get some of your questions answered. During the demo, if you have any questions, make sure to ask them in the Q&A panel at the top of the screen. After Q&A, we'll reward one lucky attendee a $50 Amazon gift card. So hang around to see if you may win. Quick overview of Variphy here. Variphy is the preferred analytics and management solution for Cisco collaboration, providing industry-leading customizable call manager, UCCX Cube, and now Zoom reporting analytics and dashboards, along with a suite of tools like remote phone control, change management, macros, and DID management. But for today, we're going to be focusing on upgrading Variphy. If you have any other questions on any of our other features, or you have any interest in taking our Zoom analytics for a spin, feel free to chat me up in the Q&A panel or reach out to your account manager for more info. And one more thing before we get things kicked off, Variphy does offer a managed consulting service where Variphy's SE team engages with you on a one-on-one basis to remotely provide additional consulting, unassisted reporting, dashboarding, configuration, and system monitoring assistance. This is a service that provides you a dedicated Variphy SC to do all the heavy lifting, giving you a completely hands-off experience. For more information, please contact us and we'll be glad to speak more in depth about our Ninja enhanced services. Let's get into the demo, into the wild here. Jim,
All
you
right.
should be able to share your screen.
Yep. Let's get organized here. And that should be shared.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. Thank you all for joining today. As Trey mentioned, we are going to go through the process of upgrading Variphy. I've got two different labs, one on Windows, one on Linux. We'll go through both processes, and you'll see how easy the process is. It should take normally less than 5 minutes to do the upgrade. And since it is a quick and easy process, we do encourage you, our customers, to stay as current as possible so you can take advantage of any new features that are being released and also get any bug fixes that are included in that release. Most releases do have a combination of both enhancements and bug fixes. So, like I said, we do encourage you to stay as current as possible on these releases. There are some prerequisites that need to be done, so we'll go over those first. But before we get into that, I did want to point out that we do have a knowledge base article on our website. So if you head on over to variphy.com and just click on support and knowledge base, as with most of our webinars, we do link them to a knowledge base article. And for this one, I'm just going to type in upgrade. And you'll see how to upgrade Variphy. So once we open that up, that will have steps for both Windows and Linux. And one of the prerequisites that I alluded to is the memory for Variphy. We do recommend for version 12 and above at least 8 gig of memory for the Variphy app. Now, if you have 8 gig on your server, then your OS needs some, Variphy needs some, and if you have MySQL loaded on that same server, MySQL will need some of that 8 gig of memory. So you're probably going to have to increase the memory on the server so we can allocate it, some for Variphy, some for MySQL, and leave some for if you have any questions or have any concerns about that, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to go through and make some recommendations or even help you get the memory allocated for Variphy. Simple process. For Windows, it's basically just a text file you're going to edit. It's located normally on C program files Variphy Insight folder, and the file is verify.vm. Similar on the Linux, it's in opt-verify apps insight and same file name verify.vm options. Again, if you're not comfortable with doing that, or especially with Linux, if you're editing a file, just feel free to reach out to us at support@verify.com, and we'd be happy to help you with that. The rest of the article does go through the steps that we're going to cover, so I'm not really going to go through each one here. We'll show it to you live. All right. The other recommendation we do make is before upgrading is to take a VM snapshot, just in case something does go wrong, you have something to fall back on. It's usually easier to just restore that snapshot than to go and troubleshoot to see what happened. If something does happen, we can always review logs after the fact and see what steps need to be taken from there. All right. So once you are ready to upgrade, I'm going to head back over to our website. You'll need to download the appropriate file from our website. Again, you can find it in support, product downloads. You will have to log into our website to do that. I'm already logged in, so log out real quick here just to show you. Get logged back in. It should take you right to the product downloads page. Yeah. So you click on product downloads link here. And normally we just have the one GA versions available. We are in a beta program for our new 14 release, which does include the Zoom phone reporting. Today my labs are on 13.1, so we're going to upgrade to the 14. But normally you would just see this one application or settings here. And depending on your platform, either click on the Linux link or Windows link to download that file. I've downloaded ahead of time, so we're going to get right into upgrading the Windows version first. And what we need to do first here is, since my lab, our Windows lab, is on my local laptop, I just downloaded it locally. You do separate server. If it does have internet access, just log in and download it right there. Otherwise, you'll have to transfer the file from your machine to this server. So the first thing we want to do as part of the upgrade is stop the Verify Insight service. So you can go to Windows Services, find Verify Insight, and stop that service. And then we're going to navigate to, make sure that gets stopped. I don't know why it's taking its time. Come on. I know when I was doing this before, it stopped right away. There we go. Just make sure it's not running there. And then we will go to my downloads folder. I do have both the Linux and Windows, but we're concentrating on Windows right now. So basically, this can be run from the downloads folder. It can be, you can copy it to your desktop, copy it to a separate folder, that your own folders that you want to keep track of the upgrades in. You could do that. But I'm just going to go ahead and right-click on the file name, run as administrator. And that should give me a pop-up here. It's on my other screen, but I'm just going to click yes, it's okay. Move this over. So you'll get this little setup wizard here. It does pop everything up on my other screen. So, first screen you're going to go to, just a wizard. Click next. Important, you want to do the upgrade to existing or upgrade existing installation, and click on next. Most of this we'll just going to click on next all the way through. It does read your values, so everything should be pretty much prompts you for. If you feel like reading this, feel free, and then we'll accept that agreement. And you want to create start menu folder and shortcuts. You can disable or enable those as you see fit. And it does a quick database check, and all databases are up to date. So we're going to do next. These are some the ports. I said, most of the time we just use the default ports. So we're gonna walk our way through here. H2 port, Tomcat shutdown port, leave those alone. And away we go. Normally you don't get that, probably because I've run this before in my lab and back and forth. So I'm having issues with my Windows lab with this version. We may have to go back and do something else there. So I'm going to cancel out of that. I'm not sure what's going on with my lab. We can try it again. Otherwise, we'll do the Linux version. It's basically the same once we get past this. Well, my lab is broken, it looks like. I'm going to have to look into that on my own here. So we're going to exit this. I do apologize for this, but basically, we'll see it on the Linux version. It's going to complete fairly quickly, or it should, if you don't have issues like I'm having. And then we'll just kind of head on over to my Linux. Go on that. So on the Linux, same process. We're going to download that file locally. We're going to have to use FTP client to move that file over. So I'm going to connect to my Linux lab here. And it should put you in Verify Admin, which on the right side is your remote site. If you just go to the root directory, I normally put the file in opt verify folder. So notice there is one for 13.1. I'm going to go ahead and delete that so I don't get confused on that, and take my Linux version and move it on over. And while that's moving over, I also need some type of CLI access with SSH program. So I'm going to use PuTTY here. And once you get logged in, we can navigate to the location I'm going to put that file in. Opt verify, do an ls. It is showing there, but it's not done with the download. So we're going to wait a few minutes here. Over there. Of course, this always works faster before the live demo. And oh, Dre, do we have any questions that came in? While I'm waiting here?
No questions as of yet. My only question is, why isn't your demo box working?
It's a lab. It's Windows. Can I say that? And
Yeah, I mean, for you having an issue there on Windows is kind of odd, honestly. Most
yes,
of the most Windows installs have been pretty smoothly. We might want to also talk about, while this is still kind of uploading, is the port stuff on the Windows side, just because I know we've had the Windows has had some changes on our default ports.
yeah, good point. Sometimes Windows updates does go ahead and change things around and uses some of the last two ports especially. I think it was the H2 port, the 8005, if I'm not mistaken. Sometimes that gets changed.
I think it's
And
the Tomcat shutdown
okay,
port.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we just have to go and update the port on our settings because Windows has decided to use that port. So you can step through that and just use a different port instead of 9001. You just use 9002, and that usually takes care of it. Yeah, thanks for reminding me about that, Trey.
Yeah, I ran into one earlier this week. So,
It's been a while for me, so I kind of forgot about it. But yep. All right. So we're going to list out this since my transfer is done. File is sitting here. So to do the upgrade, it's just a command. Before I do that, I am going to shut down my service. Sudo systemctl stop verify. And if I spell things right, that would help too. GD O. And then we could always do edits and make sure it is stopped. And it's a good indication that it's stopped. Swing that over here. Hit Control C to get out of here. And we do have these stop and status and start commands on our knowledge base article, on a different knowledge base article, so you can always refer to that. All right, to do the upgrade, we're going to do a sudo sh, and I normally just hit uppercase V and then hit my tab key to fill it in so I don't have to do all that typing. Usually the upgrade would finish before I'm done typing. And kind of step through these. It's not, kind of user interface here. We're just going to go O for enter and yes for previous version. And again, pretty much keep the default here. You'll have to cycle through this. Just hold down your enter key and go through the license agreement. Don't worry about going past it. It'll just keep prompting you for accept or deny. So we're going to accept it. And again, same steps, HTTP enabled, yes. Keep the 8080 port, HTTPS, yes. And keep the 8443 port. And here's the H2 and Tomcat shutdown port. And let it do its thing. And within a couple seconds here, we should, if everything goes all right, like Windows, have a completed message. There we go. Insight successfully installed. So now we can hop over to my Linux lab, which this guy here. Normally just do a refresh. The first time in, it will take a little bit to load up. Tomcat's still getting started here. As long as you have a spinning, or depending on your browser, as long as something is happening in your tab, this one is spinning, should be okay. I have seen them take, bigger systems for some reason do take a little bit longer to come up. Normally within a minute or two, they'll come up, but I have seen some take 20 to 30 minutes. So do be patient on that. If you're not comfortable or you want us to look at logs, if it's not coming up, feel free to reach out to us. One indication you'll get if there's an issue, it'll be a 404 error. You may see there, but we should be good on that. Once this thing loads up, it should give me the login screen.
we're waiting. I just want to pop in and just say, if this thing is spinning, I would say don't restart any services or anything like that. I have been impatient and done that before.
Yep, yep.
It's just best to let it kind of do its thing until it actually errors out or it throws you an error.
I always patiently watch that spinning tab. And
We've got a couple questions here, Jim, if you'd like
all
to
right, yeah.
answer. We do have one from Edgar asking, can we download the installer directly to the Linux server if the box has internet access, or do we always have to download and transfer them locally?
That's a good question. I have never downloaded it locally or on a Linux box. To be honest, I don't know if that can be done. I don't know if you've run into that, Trey.
I have. So
Okay.
you definitely can do it. I don't know the command. It's a pretty quick command. It's some sort of git command, I believe.
Mhm.
If you're a Linux guy, I'm sure you could probably find it easy, and you just point it to to our URL, and it can grab it that way.
Mhm.
Next question. When they run an installer, do the ports get changed to default, or do they remain the same as previously set?
Remain as what you had set. Yeah.
Questions are rolling in. Is the upgrade also upgrading the Linux version? No. Well, I'll just go ahead and answer that one. It's just upgrading our software that is on the Linux box. The Linux version will be a different type of upgrade. And I believe we do have a KB article on that as well to help you upgrade to that Linux version. Just a caveat though, if you do have an older Linux box, to get to the current version at times, you might not be able to get all the way to the current. So we would recommend migrating to our new OVA with the newer Linux version on it.
All right. Yeah, so this one did come up. And, quick check, you can run a quick history search. I'm just going to do this. I know I don't have much data in my lab, but I think I do have previous month. Just to make sure things are functioning here, you can run a history search. You can always run a report too. Yep, there's my data. The other thing I normally do is come into your secure settings icon, CUCM clusters. You could check the other clusters as well, especially if you have Cube, CCX. Can I go through here and make sure processing is enabled on both or any clusters you do have? And you can always check your CDR databases as well. What I have seen in the past, and we'll see if it happens here, uh, I'm using our multi-database support option where I've got some archive databases, or if you've got archive databases set up. Sometimes these come up and need a schema update. There will be another button over here that will allow you to perform a schema update on these archive databases. Quick, just hit the button and it should update that schema for you. It looks like this one came up clean, so I am good to go. So one other thing, I talked about memory and how much memory is allocated to verify. A quick way to check that is to, again, come into our settings icon, go to server platform under system. On a Linux version, it will show like this. And what you're concerned with is the total heap memory and the max. Notice I am not following my own advice, and I've got 5 gig allocated to verify, but it is a lab, and I don't really process much data. Huge reports. So, yeah, this is a good way to check what you've got allocated to verify. All right, I think that's all I have, Dre. Any other questions filter in?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got Jason asked, do we recommend? Is it recommended to run upgrades after work hours?
Not necessarily. It kind of depends on your environment. Like you say, like I said, it's usually a quick process. The app is only down for a couple minutes. If you do have people using the dashboard and so forth, you got to be aware of that. But they will lose access to that while it's rebooting, but or restarting the service. But yeah, it's kind of up to you. But we've done them during the day quite a bit.
Great answer. So next question is, if upgrading fails, is there a way to revert without restoring to a VM snapshot?
We can revert to an old H2, but depending where it failed, it could get kind of hairy as far as what was updated. There is an internal H2 database that gets backed up prior to the upgrade running, and it also does a nightly backup on that. So we could try to recover that and see if that gets you. Sometimes the schema versions get out of whack, but that's why we do highly recommend a snapshot and restore that. Like I said, it's usually easier to restore a snapshot and bring that right back up and do the troubleshooting and figure out what caused the failure.
Awesome. Another question is, how stable are the beta versions?
Beta versions are stable. They do go through rigorous QA testing here at Verify, but as with anything, we may have a couple bugs that come up, but as far as upgrading to it, yeah, I don't see an issue.
Awesome. And I'm about to block Edgar from asking any more questions, but he asks, is the Mac OS still supported? If so, is the upgrade process the same?
Again, to be honest, I have never done a Mac. I have never run into it. Trey, I may have to refer to you on that one. You've been around.
um,
You've been around longer than I have.
yeah, I have done a Mac. I have done a Mac one a while. Gosh, I mean years ago. Um, I don't know if we have any installers for it anymore. To be honest, it's been such a long time that anyone's even asked. Um, So I hate to say I don't know, but I don't know right this time. But if I go look at our downloads page, um, I think I only see
There is a Mac.
there used to be. Oh, there is one there.
Yeah,
Okay. Oh yeah, we 100% didn't do. I
13.1. Yeah.
apologize. Yeah, I just don't. We don't see much.
No,
We don't see much of those at all.
and if Edgar's got one, he's on his own upgrading.
Questions are still rolling in. So yes, we can do Mac, obviously. Does the upgrade crash when losing connection? Um, That's a good question. I don't think it would crash. You just probably just have to rerun it if you lost like your SSH connection or anything to it.
Hmm,
Because it wouldn't fully finish out. So I would think just rerun the upgrade and it should be fine.
right. Yeah, and to that point, like we were talking about earlier with the changing the ports, if you're on the latest version, you could just rerun the upgrade or rerun the installer, and it'll go through the same process, but it'll allow you to change the port.
We're also asked, what's the difference between a Linux and the OVA downloads?
Linux is this is your installer for the upgrade. The OVA is basically a whole system pre-configured with MySQL and the latest version of this one has 13.1. So this is basically for new customers or new installs, or like Dre mentioned before, to upgrade an older version of the Linux platform on a new server. So we would do the OVA in that case. But this is the two on the left here, Linux and Windows are just the upgrade installers.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that's it for the
And it
questions.
looks like one other
Awesome.
one popped in at the end there, Dre. I see that will there ever be a Windows OVA? Not to my knowledge.
Can't trust these sales guys, right?
Yeah.
With their questions at times. But it's OVA is more standard for Linux for more or less VMs and things. But I don't know if Windows would have like an OVA. I'm not 100% sure on how that works, but um, that could be a good question for our developers as well.
Mhm. Yep.
So we can always have somebody toss that question to us, and we can bring it over to the devs and see what would involve to make like a whole package system like that. One more question: are the instructions to restore an existing install to a newly installed Linux OVA? So more like a migration.
We do have a knowledge base article for migration, and that's out on the knowledge base page that I referenced before. But as always, we'd be happy to help you with that or answer any questions before you go through that process.
Yeah, we're more than welcome to help out with that type of process because it does take a little bit more than an install. So awesome, good job, Jim.
All right, thank you. Sorry about the Windows thing. I know what I'm doing this afternoon.
Right, exactly. All
All right.
right, I'm going to reshare. Thank you, everybody, for your questions. Hopefully, they got answered. If they did not, please let us know, and we'll help you out with anything that you need. Now, the moment we all been waiting for, the winner of this week's workshop gift card, and that winner is going to be John Toon.
Ooh, congratulations,
Congratulations.
John.
Your account manager will be reaching out to you shortly and get you that gift card over. Thank you, everybody, so much for tuning in to our workshop. Don't forget, next week we have our Verify 14.0 new features workshop, and we're going to have John and Brian hosting that one. Should be a good time showing you all those new features. Once again, thanks for taking your time with us today, and have a great week, rest of your week.
Thanks all.